Hey there. What if I told you there were places around the world where retirees are living near the beach, paying a fraction of what they paid in the U.S., and somehow getting better health care, lower stress, and actual quality of life at the same time? And meanwhile, a lot of people back home are watching property taxes go up, insurance costs explode, and grocery bills feel like a never-ending increase of price jumps. And you know what? Most people never even look at what their options are outside the U.S. because they assume moving abroad has to be complicated, risky, or only for wealthy people. But that's not true. Some countries are literally offering residency programs designed for retirees. Some give huge senior discounts, some let you qualify with surprisingly low monthly income, and a few places your dollar stretches so far it almost feels like it's broken. And hey, if you're new here, I'm Mark, and I help people plan relocations and buy and sell property in the U.S. and around the world. And I've helped, over the years, over 500 families relocate and buy homes with confidence. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through some of the best countries in the world for retirees right now, including real housing costs, residency requirements, and the places where people are quietly living way better than they expected. And believe it or not, a few of these are going to change how you think about retirement. So let's start with a country that almost feels like it was designed specifically for retirees. That's Panama. Now, this is where things really start to get interesting. Panama isn't just popular because of the weather or the beach. It's popular because the benefits are genuinely hard to beat. We're talking senior discounts on flights, restaurants, entertainment, healthcare, hotels, even utility bills in some situations. And a lot of retirees call it one of the smartest retirement systems in the world. And unlike some countries where residency becomes a paperwork marathon every couple of years, Panama's pensionado program is relatively straightforward if you qualify. And the minimum pension requirement is usually around $1,000 a month. And that's it. And because Panama uses the U.S. dollar, you don't have the same currency stress that people deal with in other countries. Now, let's talk about the housing part because this is what really people care about in the long run. In Panama City, modern condos in good areas often fall somewhere between $150,000 and $400,000, depending on the neighborhood and the amenities. And if you want luxury high-rise living with ocean views in places like Punta Pacifica or Costa del Este, prices can easily move up between $700,000 and $2 million range. But if you head outside the cities into places retirees love like Boquete or Coronado or David, prices drop dramatically. You can still find comfortable homes or condos in the $100,000 to $300,000 range depending on location and size. And this is the part that people don't really discuss much. A lot of people moving that aren't ultra-rich retirees are going there. They're regular middle-class families who realize that they could actually enjoy life more abroad than constantly trying to keep up back home. Now, if Panama feels a little too close to the U.S. culturally and you want something more adventurous, Thailand might completely blow your mind. Thailand has one of the biggest retirement hotspots in Asia for one reason. Your money goes ridiculously far. You can go out for dinner, get amazing street food, take transportation around the city, and even visit private hospitals, and still spend less than many people typically do in the U.S. suburbs. And honestly, healthcare surprises a lot of people. Bangkok has hospitals that look like luxury hotels. Now, housing prices can vary massively depending on where you go. And in Bangkok, modern condos in central areas usually range somewhere between $100,000 and $350,000. But in places like Chiang Mai, retirees are building modern condos and homes for around $120,000 to $300,000 depending on location and proximity to the city center. Now, the beach towns like Phuket can swing much higher, especially near the water. And yes, there are retirement visa pathways there if you meet the age requirement and financial requirement. But now there's always a trade-off. Thailand is incredible if you're looking for a lifestyle and affordability, but it's also farther from the U.S., culturally very different, and not everyone adjusts easily. And that's why I always tell people, don't just pick the country because it's cheap. Pick the place that actually matches the kind of life that you want. Now, if you want Europe without absolutely destroying your retirement budget, Portugal is still one of the strongest options out there. And I know Portugal gets mentioned constantly online, but there is a good reason. The climate is good, the healthcare system is solid, the infrastructure feels modern, English is widely spoken in many expat areas, and once people move there, a lot of them end up staying long term. Now, housing costs have definitely gone up over the last few years, and that's important to know. In Lisbon, apartments in the central city can easily range from 400 to over $1 million, depending on the size and the location. And Porto is usually a bit cheaper, with many apartments falling somewhere between the 250 and 600,000 range. But if you move outside the major city centers into smaller towns or suburban areas, prices become far more manageable. And rentals can vary anywhere from $1,200 a month to $4,000 a month, depending on the lifestyle. So yes, Portugal is more expensive than it used to be. A lot of retirees still see huge value there. And this is where it gets very interesting. For many people, it's not even about saving the most money anymore. It's about your lifestyle choices. Walkable cities, safer environments, less stress, more community, more time outside. That's why people are really buying. Now, let's talk about a country that almost feels too good to be true for people who want a second passport, and that's St. Lucia. Now, I've spent a lot of time in St. Lucia doing scuba diving and other adventurous treks, going to the pitons, picking the bananas from the banana trees. And this is where a lot of people suddenly realize retirement abroad is playing a completely different rules, because unlike traditional retirement visas that make you jump through endless hoops, St. Lucia has a citizenship by investment option that can actually lead to a second passport. Now, obviously, this route is more investment focused than it is budget retirement focused, but for people thinking long-term about mobility, taxes, international access, or building a backup plan, it becomes very interesting. And honestly, the lifestyle itself is stunning. We're talking the Caribbean beaches, warm weather year-round, luxury resorts, marina living, and a slower pace that feels worlds away from the stress that many people are trying to escape. Now, housing prices can vary dramatically. Luxury beachfront villas can easily pass the $1 million mark, but condos and smaller homes in the less tourist-heavy areas often range between $200,000 and $500,000, depending on the location and the views. Beachfront villas and premium properties can easily range from $350,000 to well over $1 million, depending on the island location. And while this option definitely isn't the cheapest on the list, some retirees and investors love the idea of combining lifestyle with international flexibility. Now, if you want affordability on another level, Ecuador deserves serious attention. Especially cities like Cocina has become extremely popular with retirees because the climate stays mild most of the year, and the pace of life feels calmer, and the cost of living is still surprisingly low compared to many places. Some retirees there are renting decent apartments for $400 to $1,000 a month, depending on the location and the quality. And if you want to buy a property, entry-level apartments can still be dramatically cheaper than most U.S. cities. Now, obviously, luxury properties exist there too, but Ecuador attracts a lot of people who care less about luxury and more about freedom. Freedom from the financial pressures, freedom from overpaying for everything, and freedom from consistently feeling behind. And honestly, that emotional side of retirement planning matters way more than people realize. Now, if you want affordability on another level, Ecuador deserves serious attention, especially the cities like Cocina. Now, if speaking English matters to you a lot, Belize becomes very interesting because unlike many countries on this list, English is the official language, and that alone removes a huge layer of stress for many retirees. Belize gives you Caribbean beaches, warm weather, laid-back living, and relatively simple communication. Housing there varies heavily based on whether you're near the tourist areas or inland, and beachfront homes and luxury properties can easily climb into the $500,000 to multi-million-dollar range, but inland homes and smaller condos can still fall somewhere between $150,000 and $350,000. Rentals often range from $1,000 to $3,000 a month, depending on the location and the amenities. Now, let's move on to one of the most underrated lifestyle destinations on this list, and that's Argentina. And honestly, this one surprises people because most Americans picture Europe as expensive by default. But parts of Argentina give you European-style architecture, cafe culture, wine country, walkable neighborhoods, and a vibrant city life at prices that can still feel surprisingly affordable compared to major U.S. cities. Buenos Aires especially has become incredibly attractive for retirees who want culture and energy without paying Paris or London prices. Modern apartments in good neighborhoods often range from $150,000 to $400,000, and luxury properties can go much higher, especially in the premium districts. And rentals can vary anywhere from $700 to $3,000 plus, depending on the building, the quality, and the location. Now, obviously, Argentina's economy has volatility, and that is something really important to understand. But many retirees feel the trade-off is worth it because daily life, dining, entertainment, and healthcare can still be very affordable relative to the lifestyle that you get. Now, Malaysia is another one that keeps showing up on the retiree radar, especially places like Penang and Kuala Lumpur. And honestly, this country gives you a combination that's hard to find. Modern infrastructure, strong healthcare, English is spoken widely, and excellent food. Tropical weather, and relatively affordable luxury. Kuala Lumpur, modern condos often range from $150,000 to $500,000, depending on the building and the area. Luxury high-rises can go much higher, but compared to major U.S. cities, a lot of retirees feel like they're getting dramatically more value for the money. Now, here's one more country that's becoming increasingly popular with retirees looking for value and lifestyle. And that's Costa Rica. Now, Costa Rica has quietly built one of the strongest reputations in Central America for retirees. People love the natural beauty, the healthcare system, the eco-friendly lifestyle, and the relaxed pace of life. Places like Tamarindo and Central Valley attract retirees from all over the world. Now, prices vary heavily depending on whether you want beach living, mountain towns, or city access. Modern condos can range anywhere from $180,000 to $600,000, and luxury homes near the beach can climb well past $1 million. And rentals usually fall somewhere between $1,000 and $3,500 a month, depending on the location and the amenities. Costa Rica isn't a cheap country anymore, but many retirees are willing to pay more because of the lifestyle, healthcare access, outdoor living, and overall quality of life. Now, let me say something important here. Moving abroad is not some magical fantasy where every problem disappears. Each country has its trade-offs. Some places have slower bureaucracy, some have cultural adjustment challenges, and some have healthcare systems that work differently. And yes, homesickness is real. But what surprises many people is this. Once they actually experience a slower pace of life, lower stress, walkable communities, affordable health care, and more financial breathing room, a lot of them never want to go back. And that's the part that people don't fully understand until they live it. And honestly, the biggest mistake I see people make is waiting too long. They spend years thinking about moving abroad, researching, watching videos like these, making spreadsheets, but never actually taking the first step. And then suddenly 5 years disappears. So if any country in this video sparks something in your mind, pay attention to that, because retirement today is no longer just about stopping work. For a lot of people, it's about redesigning life entirely. And there are more options available right now than most people realize. And if you want help figuring out where you'd realistically fit best, what the housing market actually looks like, what kind of budget makes sense, or how relocation really works step by step, that's exactly what I help people do. And if you've enjoyed this video, subscribe, because I've got a lot more coming on retiring abroad, international real estate within the U.S. I'll see you in the next one.